he would have his ammo pouch, which is a little different. This is slum. You see, he's got a shoulder belt, all his ammo. He had about 40, 80 rounds in here. His cap pouch is the cap pouch you put on the end of this little piece here. You put that on. After he loads his gun with powder, so what happens, the cap down on that is mercury. You'll fire a little spark of chamber down through this chamber, ignite the gunpowder, fire the bullet out. And then you have to go through the process of pulling this out. And doing that hopefully 3 times in a minute. That could get a little hectic. Just by reenacting, I've tried that. We did the Battle of Biloxi down in Florida. And they had the 54th was the last unit to hold. They held ground while the other Union troops were retreating. So the scenario we were firing, the rebels will eventually overrun us. Firing, the rebel lines push forward, close, I'm firing, and they get closer, and they charge. And I'm seeing how, this is no way, I would see how they can stand there and go, and these guys are getting closer and closer. So I got in, fired my 1 round, went back, and now they're literally to the back of this, about where that tent is, charging. So I started to do this, now work, took my rifle and I went, the whole Confederate line laughed. fell while they were laughing. But that would just show you these men had a stand that had a lot of bravery about it, they were able to do that. To stand up against odds like this, especially the black people, because Davis had put out an order, any of them that were caught in October of 1863, that they were considered rebels or conspirators. They could be shot on the spot. They had no court. They could be killed on the moment. That happened at Fort Pillow with Regiment there. But just imagine that happening to you, but yet they still had fortitude and the strength to stay to hold that ground and fight through battle. Before Gettysburg, we had a little debate just about a week ago in Columbia, Pennsylvania. There was a militia group there. About 60-some blacks were involved. It was a mixed unit, so you had a mixed militia unit that knew that summer contingents of Lee's army was coming up to look out, to actually hold a bridge so Lee could go up. He wanted to get Harrisburg. He was aiming for Harrisburg and Philadelphia. So they got together, they came to this bridge. It was only 200 against like 2,500 Confederates. So they held the ground, they fought a while, they eventually had to retreat, but as they retreated, they burned this wooden bridge. So the Confederates went back, told Lee, we ran into a force, we don't know how many there were, but they know we're coming. They think that this is maybe the reason why Lee turns towards Gettysburg. Like, so hard at that point, but just to know that these guys were there, and you know, a couple thousand against 200 is a lot. And these were militia. So you didn't hear about it. You don't hear much about that now, but they started to work on getting that information out. Also, one of the first USCT units that were around, the Louisiana Naval Guard, they started in April of 1862. They were illegal. They weren't sanctioned by the government. David Hunter was a general. He sort of had insight to see that the Union was going to need more men to replace the men that had died at Gettysburg and Antietam and some of these other battles. And they were getting, the Confederates were doing a pretty serious job of whipping them real bad and losing men, capturing them. So he formed these units. The government found out, told him you can't do that. Sort of hard-headed. He disbanded a few of them and left one, and they chased rebels around down in South Carolina. Now, Louisiana Naval Guard was a militia unit that goes back to the Revolutionary War. They were like passing on from son to son. So Revolutionary War is over now. It's been 90 years. But their sons still keep this militia unit going, and they practice. So they told the Confederates, we want to fight for the Confederacy. Will you let us do it? The Confederacy said no. The Confederates lost. John Phelps came in, Union general, said he was told by Lincoln that these guys can fight, join them up. He sent another adjunct general down there, told him to talk to the officers. The officers sort of against the idea because they didn't want to have black troops. He was told by Lincoln that these guys fit and they can fit what we need and they can qualify. So you had in Louisiana Naval Guard, you had the first and second. You actually had some black officers, and one was Andre Culox, who was French. He fought at the Battle of Fort Hudson. Port Hudson, and there he led his army into pretty much a suicide attack. But they went and did it because they knew they had to do what they had to do. So he had canister fire from one side and Confederate sharpshooters from the other side, and they went on and fought in. They say the battle fight was so immense that it was actually some hand-to-hand combat. He was known to say that had been known to have been wounded several times. His arm was pretty much shredded, but he kept going on talking in both English and French. Later he was killed, but they never allowed them to recover the body. Usually after a battle, there's sort of like a ceasefire, and they go out and recover and take care of the wounded. Well, because they were black troops, the Confederacy would not allow that to happen. When they came out to recover the troops, they fired them. So that just didn't happen. It wouldn't let it happen at all. Do that at all. Now, just to end this and understand the reason why they fought, they weren't afraid. After the Battle of Fort Pillow, the cry was the men of Fort Pillow, encouraged them to fight on. But other battles, there's a Sergeant Morgan Carter at the 28th USCT after the Battle of the Cradle. He finally wrote back to a friend of his, and they explained to him how men were literally just neighbors standing beside him, just literally obliterated, nothing left. He didn't even know where they went, he didn't see them. But they kept fighting, they kept moving forward, and men would pick up the flag. Now, if you picked up that flag like we have there in a battle, you automatically became the main target. Everybody on the battlefield, the Confederate side was aimed. Not only because you were black, but because you hold that flag. So they were aimed for that. You would get wounded, shot. He told this and how people like Christian Fleetwood held that flag out the Medal of Honor and brought it back to the line. But he also made a statement to him. He said that basically they all would do this all over again. They would risk their lives all over again with no problem. He said most willingly we would do this all over again because we have consolation knowing that if we don't receive the benefit of what we did today, that future generations will receive the benefit of that day, of what we've done that day. And to me, to be able to say that after you face what you face meant that these guys had a lot more to it than what we were told or we knew about. There was a lot of courage, a lot of strength. They had a purpose, and the purpose was so we today, I can be here to talk to you. I can go to college, kids, go to college, go to school. Remember now, these guys, they were caught for book. A lot of them were killed on the spot or hung. So, kids, I tell them, that's an honor for you to go to school, the fighting has been done. With that, I say someday I hope that when I pick up our history book, all these stories, instead of having to have an Afro-American book, an American history book, they'll all be a one American history book. Because these guys were fighting to be American.